We're going to go to North Carolina. The Republican candidate for governor there under fire for disturbing comments he reportedly made on a website's message board. Rachel Scott is tracking the story. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And it's not just the governor's race that's important in North Carolina. It's also a critical battleground state in presidential politics, too. Early voting in that state begins today, and Mark Robinson has made it clear his name is staying on the ballot. This morning, Mark Robinson, the Republican nominee for governor in the critical swing state of North Carolina, is vowing to stay in the race.
Goon Platoon Commander Mark Robinson signing up for duty, sir. Okay, he's here and he's ready to go. He's ready to let it rip. Now, we covered Mark Robinson quite extensively yesterday, a fantastic character in the American political mosaic. Okay, he is a man with many interests. Okay, and just like Ryan Ruth, I consider to be a go-getter, I would say Mark Robinson has that same intensity, but for things he likes. Okay, for Ryan Ruth, it was defending Ukraine. Okay, for Mark Robinson, that is gooning. He is a gooner. Through and through. I would say that he is the gooner, as a matter of fact. More so than any other gooner I have ever encountered in my life. He really put a lot of, I think this man is motivated by gooning more than the average person is. I'll say it like that, okay? He seemingly is perhaps a little bit too invested in the goon, if that makes sense. I'm ordering food for myself because I know I'm not going to have any time to eat between now and like 7 p.m. and I'll die. So I'm trying to order some food as quickly as I possibly can. Oh, this is wrong. I don't want this. Oops. Anyway, bro was probably at Diddy's freak-offs. No, he was too working class to participate in Diddy's freak-offs. And that is, unfortunately for him, I mean, or I guess fortunately, he could not participate in Diddy freak-offs, but he would have if he had the opportunity. 100%. That much is clear to me. Okay, broad daylight, clarity, the clarity that he never really demonstrated in his entire life. If we're being real, this man, personally spent an unimaginable amount of time in his life, not only gooning, but thinking about gooning, writing about gooning, and also being a Nazi. It was fantastic. The coverage on it was fantastic. Shouts out to K-File once again for that. He went into debt for how hard he gooned. And I think many of you do not have that level of investment, and many of you do not have that level of resilience. Many of you would never go that hard. He did, and I can't help but respect him for it. Okay, you need to upload a YouTube video on it. I want to send to my friends. I'm shocked that my editors have not made this already, if we're being honest. I thought that it would have been out by now.
He made this series of inflammatory online posts that are detailed in an explosive new CNN report, including one where he reportedly called himself a, quote, black Nazi.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson.
ABC News has not independently confirmed the reporting. CNN says Robinson, the state's current lieutenant governor, made the comments between 2008 and 2012 on a website called Africa, including allegedly saying that slavery is not bad, adding he wished it would come back, and describing in graphic detail spying on women in public showers as a teenager. Robinson is no stranger to controversy. He has a history of inflammatory rhetoric, but he won the Republican primary.
All gooned some, Mark gooned all. The few, the proud, the gooner. Respect. Gooning ain't being a Nazi, however it is. I'll be honest with you, according to the Republican Party and the way that they've received this story, being a Nazi is a significantly lower than gooning. Like, they are embarrassed about the stuff, but they don't give a about him being like, he didn't say any of those things. Wait, what? Yes, he did. The funniest part about this story is that he very publicly has said things like this. Like, there was already public information. Oh, Freaky Robinson did, though. Yeah. So the funniest aspect of this story is that a lot of this stuff was readily available. Like, we knew that he had, quoted Adolf on his Facebook page and defended quoting Adolf on his Facebook page. He quoted him in 2014 and defended quoting him in 2021. We knew that he had a gooning habit because the owner of the store that he routinely frequented came out with an expose being like, yeah, this dude literally owes me money. He made a song about it. We covered all of it, right? But what we didn't know was the extent of the gooning, I guess. We didn't know the extent of him being an open, overt Nazi who hated MLK, even though we kind of knew he hated MLK as well. At least Trump did, because Trump actually brought that exact same thing up a while ago when endorsing Mark Robinson, where he's like, I called him MLK. He didn't like it. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't like being called MLK, but he's MLK on steroids. Like, he literally said that, okay? So, you know, that's Mark Robinson for you. Listening to this conversation with no context, never give me the hint that it's about politics wholly. It's not only just about politics, but this is already an elected lieutenant governor. He is the sitting lieutenant governor of North Carolina. Chad, this person already has been elected in the office. And now he's running for the top position. He's running in the gubernatorial race. He's running for governor against Josh Stein, the Democratic candidate. The story is amazing because it's so funny, but it's like, it's just a reiteration of the things we knew about him already. It's just like further evidence of the things that we knew already.
Which was endorsement.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay. Now, I told that to Mark.
I'm a Lebanese civilian, and all I have to say is that us civilians, we are paying the price of Hezbollah playing around with Israel. He started it by helping it, which I'm not saying is something bad, but for us, it is because we are the one paying the price in something we weren't even supposed to get involved with. The last time they invaded was the same problem. That's really interesting that you say that, Lebanese civilian, because Hezbollah didn't even exist before Israel invaded Lebanon. And, you know, you're putting the cart before the horse a little bit, at least historically speaking, because back then you were paying the price of having Palestinian refugees living inside of your boundaries. But the reality of the matter is they would have invaded anyway. Okay, they want it. That's it. You got it. They want it. That's gonna happen. Okay, that's gonna happen no matter what. So whether you have some kind of resistance force against it or not doesn't change the reality that it is going to happen.
I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2.
CNN reports that allegedly in some online posts, Robinson actually attacked the slain civil rights hero Martin Luther King Jr., calling him a communist and using a racial slur.
I actually exposed my mom to Kufi and Hagee, the thing, how he went to the DC rally recently. I posted Christian Zionism is anti-Semitism. She asked me to explain. I explained the whole Megiddo thing. She was mad about how anti-Semitic it was. I then said, that's exactly why Israel and Judaism are different. These freaks are pro-Holocaust too, and also pro-Israel. That's where she ended the convo and asked to stop. That's good. You know, you got to keep pushing. For all the Jewish HasanAbi heads in the chat, you just got to keep pushing in your you know, real life with people that love you, that are willing to listen to you.
The North Carolina Republican Party is standing by their candidate for governor, calling the allegations against Robinson a political smear. But the Harris campaign pouncing, quick to highlight Trump and Robinson together.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
Polls have Vice President Kamala Harris and Donald Trump neck and neck in North Carolina.
The Trump campaign, responding to this news in a statement, calls North Carolina vital to their chances of winning the White House in November. That statement does notably not mention Mark Robinson by name, and this morning there is no word whether Robinson will appear with the former president at that rally in North Carolina this weekend, George.
Okay, Rachel, thank you.
And he's been an unbelievable Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson.
For me, there's no compromise on abortion.
I think you're better than...
Pass a bill, say you can't have an.
Dude, it's so funny that he said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. And Mark Robinson took that as a diss, dude. And that didn't ring any alarm bells in Trump's head. So much so that he repeated that experience that he had publicly. These guys are so goddamn removed from reality, like the way MLK is perceived by even white Americans, unless they are the most, right? Like most people think that's good. He's a good guy. He did good things. Okay. You have to be the most delusional person to look at a story like that, have a guy, a black dude be like, oh, I take offense to you comparing me to MLK. He's a godless commie bastard or whatever and then turning around and like repeating parts of that story. Like that should have been your first red flag. But Trump is so goddamn invested in like anyone that turns around and says, I love you, sir. I love you more than life itself, that he has no way of analyzing the situation beyond the immediate feedback that he's getting from his sycophants. This is the reason why his political instincts are bunk. This is the reason why his political instincts are broken. This is the reason why he's locked in with psychos like this. Okay? I hate how Islamophobic most people around me, the Netherlands, are, including my own damn family. They don't understand how a queer trans woman can support Palestine. It's fine. People have been saying this ad should have been more of the recent revelations, but I think this one is fine because you can't really say it's mudslinging. It's clearly just policy oriented. The other stuff can be kept for ads for the actual governor race. Yeah, I mean, he's like bad above board. I would have probably posted a little bit more about the MLK.
Abortion in North Carolina for any reason.
Abortion in this country, it's about the child because you aren't responsible enough to keep your skirt down.
I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding.
Donald Trump and Mark Robinson. They're both wrong for North Carolina.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Yeah, I mean, that's like everyone who isn't a bloodless ghoul likes MLK. Hating him is like coming out and saying you hate Mr. Rogers and Jesus. Yeah, like, given the whitewashed way that people represent the civil rights movement and the way that they like talk about MLK as like the acceptable figurehead, like liberals and Republicans alike concede that MLK was a good guy. In some ways, the unhinged MLK haters on the right are more honest about his background, I would say, for the wrong reasons, right? But you got the FBI celebrating MLK, man. Come on. They may or may not have him, okay? They certainly were not fond of him. They objectively were trying to get him to himself by blackmailing him and kept him under complete surveillance to the best of their technological ability at the time. And even the FBI comes out and is like, we love MLK every year. So, you know, that's what you need to understand. MLK history is one revision away from saying they figured out through an ice cream social. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that Republicans are trying to make Nebraska winner take all. Senator Lindsey Graham skipped votes yesterday to go to Nebraska and urge lawmakers there to switch the state's electoral college vote allotment to winner take all. This I think is just desperation, for the record, from the Republicans. Once again, they're trying to pick up they're trying to pick up any kind of support they possibly can. Okay, is North Carolina in play? I mean, look, I look at the down ballot races in a lot of these places, and like a lot of the senators are in a similar boat to Mark Robinson, where they're like running against like first timers. A lot of the senators that are in the down ballot races, as it stands currently, are going up against objectively bad Republican candidates. Okay. And for that reason, they're outperforming the top of the ticket by like sometimes 10 points even. Well, not 10 points, but like usually around like 5 points, 6 points, which is pretty significant, right? And so I don't know what kind of implications this has on the top of the ticket in North Carolina, as it seemingly has had no positive impact on the top of the ticket in other races around the country. So we shall see, especially when the governor race, like gubernatorial races, are notoriously anti-partisan. It's a very personal thing for people. They know that people know that like their governor impacts their lives pretty significantly. That's also part of the reason why you have, you know, more moderate governors that are still Republican in places like Ohio that are significantly more right-wing. Or you have someone like Andy Bashar in Kentucky. It's like plus 35 red state. Andy Bashar is a Democrat and a progressive Democrat, as a matter of fact, and is also one of the most popular governors historically. One of the most popular governors in the nation. So obviously, you know, people analyze the governor's race very differently than they analyze like the presidential race or even their Senate races and their races in their districts.